Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. How y'all doing? It's Kaiser. And Ghostbusters Frozen Empire debuted this past weekend, and it's got both audiences and critics pretty thoroughly split. Now, I'm going to break down what I can of just like the numbers and the hard data. So I'm going to make it abundantly clear at this exact moment. I have not actually been to see this movie yet. I do want to try and make an effort to go see it, see what my own opinion is on it. But right now, I'm just reporting the facts on the ground and kind of what I'm seeing from all sides. So this is about as unbiased as I could possibly be on the situation. I have my own thoughts, but I'll be completely honest, I'm going to reserve those until I've seen the movie. So, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire led the box office this week with a $45 million debut. So far, probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, we've seen so far in 2024. And definitely doing a lot for this movie, the franchise, and the company behind it. So, bringing in the $45 million, it actually beats out the 44 million, just barely, that Ghostbusters Afterlife brought in 2021. And as I said, this movie's definitely got both the critics and the audiences split. As you can see here on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score reading at about 43%, 216 reviews, audience score 85% with about 1,000. Now, if you actually go in here and you check the top critics, it actually drops down to 35. And so it actually goes even lower. And then audience and verified audience stays actually the same between either 1,000 or 2,500 plus ratings. And yeah, it stays consistent in 85%. And that's actually seems to be kind of where we're aiming at right now. The Cinema Score giving this movie a B plus based on the word of mouth and the fan reaction, or I guess you should say the audience reaction to this movie. Fans, not even fans, but audiences giving it a B plus. What's interesting is that you go over here to Metacritic. Metacritic is definitely a bit more middle of the road, bit more like a little bit more unbiased than places like Rotten Tomatoes are. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is still a good aggregator if you know how to kind of read past their BS. Metacritic doesn't have that issue. So right now, out of based on 43 critic reviews, the Metascore is sitting at about a 46% with a user score of 5.7%. So, or at a 5.7 out of 10, that's usually a if you equivalent put it at about a 70 or 57% audience score. So audiences and the critics are not too far split on this movie, at least as far as Metacritic goes, but none of them are really pushing far over or under that 50%. Now, as far as where the critics are lining up and what I've been hearing a lot of from the critic side of it, just I'm just gonna give you what they say. I'm not trying to, give you anything else than just their information. This is what the critics are saying about the movie. So the Guardian actually saying Ghostbusters Frozen Empire review cut and paste copy of the original. An ancient ghost god threatens Manhattan in Gil Kennon's uninspiring sequel, which fails to make the most of its young stars. And even over here on Variety saying Ghostbusters Frozen Empire review a bigger, rowdier, and slightly funnier fan service grab than Ghostbusters Afterlife. So, I mean, even they're saying that this movie really leans hard into the fan service. And I think that my own personal opinion is that there is good fan service and there's bad fan service. When you're just using the fan service for member berries and just, trying to get people to come and see your film without really even knowing or understanding or caring about what made the original that they're actually referencing so good in the first place. That's definitely, in my opinion, a bad fan service grab. I mean, but you know eh, there's an there has to be an earnestness with these for, a good fan service rating. Even Bounding into Comics, who I was not sure where they were gonna line up on this movie, but yeah, even they are absolutely just lambasting the film, calling Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire a dull, uninspiring mess of a film. And even this little quote down here: Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire cannot find a creative middle ground between its 40 to 60-year-old core audience and the Gen Z crowd it is trying to pull in by pushing younger actors. You know, even over here on Geeks and Gamers is actually giving it a pretty rough review there, saying Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire is memberberry laden bore, a sequel that exists for the sake of milking an IP that is that all its current right holders can. It has none of the charm or fun that made Ghostbusters a classic, save for the rare scenes with one of the old characters. It's too hyperactive to let the scene play out, too confused to know what it's trying to say, and has too many characters to balance its bare bones story. Not even Paul Rudd is entertaining this time. And yeah, that's just where the critics are all lining up on this movie, and even some of the ones that, I mean, even I kind of tend to gravitate to or listen to at least a little bit more often. They're not really seeming to like this film very much, but again, audiences are apparently doing getting something out of it if this movie's pushing a $45.2 million opening weekend, at least domestically, 16.4 million international, for a total 61.6 million over opening weekend grab, which against a production budget of only $100,000, or sorry, $100 million. I mean, with you're talking about production budget, probably twice that. You're talking about looking at, a 200 is like needing 200 million to break even. Honestly, for a first weekend outing, I mean, that's pretty good. It has an opportunity, a chance to actually make profitability. We'll kind of see how things go. This movie definitely was the top of the charts for this past weekend, the 45.2 billion domestic at 4,300 theaters. Definitely topped out well over Dune 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, Immaculate, Arthur and the King. I say, yeah, it's definitely made a lot for this past weekend. And of course, other films down here are still, there are some that are still hanging on. I, couple of these we're just gonna say they're somehow still hanging on. Not sure how, but they're not even in the top 10 anymore. Yeah, there's a lot to kind of unpack with this. And so yeah, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, hands down, it beat out all the competition for the weekend. So take that for whatever it is worth. And I would just say keep an eye out if you have any reviewers that you trust and you want to know what this is going to be, or if this is going to be something that you're going to enjoy. I would say definitely keep an eye out for those. See if there's any out there that can give you kind of like an idea what they're thinking. And but otherwise, I would say, based on just the numbers here, I'm going to definitely at least try and make an effort to go see this one, see what I think, report back to you guys once I do. And yeah, I say otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for coming on over, hanging out, watching this with me. And please definitely do me a favor, go down there, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.